This video is on the immune system. It's Unit 9, Learning Targets 2728. The immune system is part of your body, one of the systems of your body. It doesn't really have a specific organ involved with it, but mostly involves your white blood cells. And the immune system, the function is to eliminate pathogens, eliminate infections, eliminate foreign objects in your body. You have lots of non-specific defenses in your body. Non-specific means it's not targeting any one thing. Like this tent over this house is targeting everything that's in the house, not just one specific thing, even though there may be one specific thing that is in mind. You have lots of non-specific defenses. Here's a few. Your skin is a great example of this. Your sweat, there's a sweat gland. Sweat eliminates bacteria from your skin. The hair, see this person has hair in their nose, like we all do. The hair keeps foreign objects from getting out into your nose. Anything, not just a specific thing. Your stomach acid gets rid of possible pathogens as well. Non-specific defense. The inflammatory response, this is when your body comes in contact with something that, some kind of foreign object. You know, this shows like a rusty pin or a nail or something piercing through the skin, and all the bacteria that are coming with it. Well, what your body will do is the white blood cells around the area will release a chemical called histamine, and that histamine causes that area to swell up because the blood vessels in that area will close off, and it'll cause it to swell up, localizing the infection. And there will actually be some heat involved there and some swelling, and your white blood cells basically go in and clean everything up, get rid of all the bacteria, and that will leave a mess. And so there's lots of trash, and that's kind of what, if you have a sore or something like that, and it kind of gets some infection or pus in there, that's what that is. It's a part of the inflammatory response. People who have allergies basically are having an inflammatory response against non-dangerous things, you know, like pollen or pet hair or something like that. We'll talk about allergies in a second. Fever is another non-specific defense, in that when your body gets an infection, it will heat itself up in order to kill off that infection, and it will heat its whole self up. So your temperature will go up in order to kill the infection without hurting your body. At least that's the plan. Interferons, these are chemicals that attack viruses specifically, and these are proteins that basically block the reproduction of viruses. They're non-specific in that they just target any virus. Now, as for specific defenses, your body can actually craft defenses in order to specifically take down a foe, like Bard the Lake Man here, and his black arrow that always returned to him and never failed him when he took down the dragon's maw. A pathogen is anything that would cause an infection or disease. Usually we associate pathogens as bacteria or viruses, and pathogens have something on them called antigens. And an antigen is basically like a signal to your body that whatever it is not you. And so imagine being in a room full of people and your eyes closed, and everyone has their hands sticking out, and you're walking around, you're feeling the hands, and then all of a sudden you feel like horse hooves or something. You recognize that that's not a person. All right, and so much the same way, your body has certain recognition signals on the outside of cells, and when it gets something that's not part of it, it immediately recognizes it as so, and it's these antigens that are those recognition particles on the outside of the cell. Viruses have them, bacteria have them, pretty much any living thing that you would come in contact with is going to have them. So what your body will do is it will form two kinds of specific responses against that. There's humoral immunity, and what humoral immunity is this is where your body, there's a certain kind of cell in your body, in your white blood cells called B cells, and these B cells will form antibodies. And an antibody looks like these blue things here. You can see them. And notice that these antibodies have specific shapes on the end of them. And those specific shapes match the antigens. Well, they haven't always matched the antigens. When your body comes in contact with something that's not like it, it will actually take a piece of that antigen and use it in order to craft a specific weapon against that antigen. And so what will happen is here with humoral immunity, your body basically teaches a cell to make those specific antibodies, and then those cells will divide and make tons and tons of antibodies. And it's called humoral immunity because it's in the fluid of your body, in the blood of your body. Your body will release these antibodies into the bloodstream, and it will fight the infection that way. And so this is why sometimes when you come in contact with something the first time, it takes you a while to fight it off, whereas if you come in contact with it the second time, it's a lot quicker because your body remembers, hey, this is how we fought this thing, and releases all those different antibodies. Now, the way these antibodies work, real quick, may be helpful, is they attach themselves to all these sites, and there's maybe some back here too, and essentially make the bacteria useless. It's unable to attach to anything, and it's kind of like a signal to all the big white blood cells that go around and eat everything to come by and eat this one too. Now, there's also cell-mediated immunity, and mediated means to go between, and what is it that goes between the cell? So another cell actually does the mediation, whereas the humoral immunity, it was the antibodies in the bloodstream. This is where an actual cell goes out and does the fighting. And these cells are called killer T cells. And what they'll do is they'll actually go out and poke holes in the foreign cells. They will go out and poke holes in those killer T cells until they basically explode, and or they'll poke holes in your own infected cells as well in order to blow them up. So that's cell-mediated immunity versus humoral immunity. How do you get immunity? Well, naturally, you acquire some from your parents, from your mother specifically. Breastfeeding is a way to gain immunity, and so this is a natural immunity that you acquire, so it's given to you, so therefore it's passive, versus active immunity, which is one that you form yourself, like seeing an antigen, making a specific defense against that antigen. That's what we just talked about. So that's natural. That's when you do it, when your body gets it, or gets it from someone, or makes it itself. Now, uh, acquired immunity, passive, is where another person's body makes the antibody. Antivenoms are a good example of this. They use horses to make snake antivenom, and they'll put that into you. Well, a horse actually did the work there. You didn't. Or acquired active immunity is where you use uh, like a vaccine, where you're injected with a virus and your body will actually fight that off. So active immunity is where you're given a vaccine, where you're actually given a dead virus and your body forms the immunity against it. Now, allergies are where your immune system is overactive, and there's something specifically like, let's say you're allergic to pollen. Well, pollen is not a dangerous substance, even though it is a foreign substance, and so your body, in response to that contact with that, will form a non-specific defense against that, an inflammatory response against that, and cause you to swell up, which is why your whole head feels stuffed up, because it is. And it's because of all that histamine that's being released by your body to have an inflammatory response. It's the same thing if you're allergic to bees. So in that case, the bee venom gets into your blood and it goes out throughout your whole body, which is why you swell up. Or you can have your lungs constricted and causes trouble with breathing. And they have to give you an antihistamine, which is to counteract the histamine, like a histamine blocker, or they can speed up your, uh, like give you adrenaline, which speeds up your system, helps it work faster. And that's different from an autoimmune disease, because an autoimmune disease is where your body actually attacks itself. Auto self-immune disease is where your immune system thinks that its own cells are dangerous. And so I used an example for multiple sclerosis here, where the myelin sheath is being eaten away from the nerve. Rheumatoid arthritis is another example where your own joints and your own cartilage is being eaten away by your body. Lupus, there's several examples of autoimmune diseases, and they're many and varied, and they're usually genetic. But it's just where your body attacks itself as opposed to attacking actual threats to the body.